Right, we're looking at session 2 of our prep work for the exam. So let's get into it. So again, a combination of different things. So some of it financial calcs. We're going to prime numbers, and again, then measurements and just more. So let's get into the first one. So let's quickly see what they're giving us. Denario decided that she will save 2,500. Let's just write, so 2,500. Quickly want to see if I can make this bigger. Okay, 2,500 per quarter over the next 4 years. So will be a monthly or quarterly payment. So that will be your PMT. Then they tell us it is 4 times per year because they tell us it is quarterly. It is for 4 years. So N is 4. So if we then look at the periods, it should be 16. Let's just see what else. She will make the first deposit into a savings account in 3 months' time, and she will make her last deposit at the end of the 4 years. At the end of 4 years, if interest is earned, so there's your interest component. Strange interest, but that is it, 6.68%. Okay, and then they ask us what will the total amount be. So we want to know what will the future value be of this. Okay, so I'm gonna put this information into my financial calculator. I will after this just show you how to do it in Excel as well, but 2,500 negative will be my PMT, then 4 times per year for 4 years. That gives me 16 periods, then 6.6% interest, and then if I get my future value, it's actually a bit different to that. It's 45422.51. So obviously they made a mistake here in the answer because that should have been the correct one, but it should be 4522.51. So let me also just show you how to do it in Excel. Let me just quickly open Excel. Okay, so let's just okay, so we got PMT of minus 5,000. We've got the periods per year was over times per year was 4 because it was quarterly. Our N was 4, so then our periods for that is equal to 4 times 4. So that is where we got the 16. Then our interest rate was 6.68%. And then I just want to say interest rate per period so that we get that as well. So that is that divided by how many times per year. So then if we need to work out the future value, there is again a nice function in Excel that looks at future value that can work it out. What you need to put in is the rate. And here they also saying that's why I divided it. It's the interest rate per period. So for example, use 6% divided by 4 for quarterly payments. So we've done it. Then they tell us the numbers or end periods is the total number of payment periods. So that is the 16. PMT was the 2.5. We don't have any present value. And there you can see also the 45422.51, which again is not actually what they said was the correct answer. So you can see again they made a mistake in there, and yeah, so again something like that should not happen in the exam. So again, please, if you see something like this in the exam, please let me know afterwards. You can just send me a WhatsApp afterwards and say, John, but I think there was an issue with question 5 or 6 or whatever. And I will just give that through to the lecturer afterwards. So, and I don't give any student numbers or anything. I will just say there was this group of students that complained about the one question. So please, if you see something like this, let me know after the exam. Okay, I will share the spreadsheet as well with you guys so that you can look at it. But using the spreadsheet or using your financial calculator, you will get to the same answer. Okay, so yeah, I said it's a mix of questions tonight. So this was again from an assignment in the first semester, I think, and they ask which one of the following numbers is a prime number. So again, please also, if you have any questions that we need to cover before you write the exam, please pop it in the chat in our WhatsApp group, and I will add it to our sessions next week. So next week we will have sessions on Wednesday and Friday. So please send me any questions that you have on this, and I will add it to a slide pack like this, and we can work it through. Okay, so which one of the following numbers is a prime number? So remember, prime number is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. Okay, so that is a prime number. Only the number can only be divided by itself and 1. Okay, so let's look at, and I know it's a bit smudgy and not that good to see. But the first number is 14. So if you look at 14, we know that 2 can go in there. Well, 2 goes in there 7 times. 3, I don't think so. 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Okay, so at least 1, 2, 7, and 14. Okay, so that means it is not a prime number. If we look at 15, then, okay, 15 years, but 3 can go in there. 3 goes into that 5 times. So we can also then see that's not a prime number. 18, so 1 goes in there, 2 can go in there. So it is 2 and 9, 1 and 18. So already we can see it's not a prime number, but also I think 3 goes in there, 6 goes in there. So again, we can see, yes, as always, we'll share the presentation with the recording afterwards. And then 19, so we now know that 19 is the correct one, but again, 1 goes in there and 19, but let's see, 2 doesn't, 3 doesn't, 4 doesn't, 5 no, 6 no, 7 no, 8 no. Okay, so actually it is only 1 and 19. What is also important around the prime numbers, don't go and try and study a list of prime numbers. Because remember, this is going to be multiple choice. So they will give you 4 numbers, and rather out of the 4 numbers, check which one is not the prime number or is a prime number, because else you need to now have a list of prime numbers and study it. So rather, it's easier to check which one is not prime than now to study one is prime. What, there's 11 is probably prime, 17. So again, I rather just, when you get a question like this, because they can give you a weird numbers like 14, 21, 58, and 217 or something like that. And then you would not have gone that far on a list or anything like that. So when you do prime numbers, rather look at the options and then find the one between those 4. Okay. What they also, and I will put that into a presentation for next Wednesday, is they can ask this 2 ways. So they can ask it which one is prime, or they can give you out of 4 numbers 3 prime numbers and ask you which one is not a prime number. So that's normally the way that they go with prime numbers. Okay, so then we go into a bit of measurement. And here they ask us the area of the shaded region. So this, it seems like light yellow is the shaded, or light green, or but seems like this area is the shaded area if I look at it. So they give us a few things. So they give us in the diagram below, MATH is a rectangle where GB, so that is 4,6 centimeters. MH, where is MH? MH is 8. HT is 12. What is the area of the shaded? Okay, so what I would do is I would get the area, because that I don't have the faintest idea what that shape is. So I will get the area of the square. So I will get the area of that red square. And then the other thing that I will subtract is a rectangle, because that we know what that is and how to work that out. So if I do that, I will get my area that I am looking for, which is that colored in region. Okay, so then I will get that area. So the area of the square is 8 times 12. 8 times 12 is, I think it's 96. Yes, 96. Okay, so already we know the area is going to be smaller than 96, but all of those answers is still smaller. So unfortunately can't eliminate anything. Then we know that the area for a rectangle is a half base. Know that base is 12 times height. That height is 4,6. So 0.5 times 12 times 4.6 is 27.6. So if we subtract 27.6 from 96, we get our final answer as 68.4. And that is option A. Okay, so this one of measurement, again, it's how I would do it is I will, and just to make it for myself easier, get a piece of paper, write it down on a piece of paper so that I can see, okay, we've got here the full area. We need to get this yellow, greenish shaded area. I'm gonna go for taking that square, subtracting the rectangle, and then I will get that shaded region. Okay, so that is the process that we will go through, and they need to again give us enough information to be able to do all of this. So they can't not give us all the information. So again, you can't go now and guess what that height is. They need to give it to you. Okay. So the next one that has been very similar type of question. So you can see again, we're looking at a shaded region. So very similar, that we need to get the rectangle, then subtract the triangle, and in this instance we will then get the shape that is something like that. Okay, so that is again what we will be looking to do. Again, there's no wonder formula to just say, okay, let's say something times something times something, and then voila, we've got this answer. So unfortunately, we will need to take the longer route. So the square or rectangle, 14 times 25. So 14 times 25, it's equal to 350. Okay, so already I am looking at this and I'm going to subtract something. So my answer is not going to be 350. Because I'm subtracting, it's going to be less. It's definitely not going to be 484. Okay, so just by working out that first one, I could actually already eliminate two of the answers. Then the triangle is half base. So again, we know this length is 25 and that's the base. And they give us that height of 11. And so that is the triangle, 25 times 11 times 0.5, which is 137.5. So that is that one. And then if you subtract the two, we will get our final answer as 212.50. And then we can round that off to 213, which is option A. Okay, so very similar to the previous one, where to get to the shaded region, you'll need to take the full rectangle, we subtract the triangle to get that shaded region. Okay. I think I've got more on measurements as well. So let's quickly do, let's just group the measurements together. Then we can look at the other ones that's not measurements in tonight's session separately. Okay. Okay, so again, a measurement, but nearly a combination between measurements and your equations. So here they say find the area of a shaded rectangle. So that's that whole rectangle. And they basically tell us that's for one side, that's the other side. So we need to remember nearly, okay, area is equal to length times breadth. So the one side is 2x minus 1. The other side is x plus 1. And then we will need to multiply that out. So we don't have it in brackets as answers. So we will need to multiply that out. So by using our normal equation maths, it's 2x times x will give me 2x to the power of 2. And what I normally do is to check. So I'm like, okay, unfortunately, all of them is still correct. Then I will say 2x times 1. So that is plus 2x. Then we do it with this one. Minus x times x is minus x. So that already we can simplify by saying 2x minus x. So we know that the middle term is plus x. So let's look at this. Minus, no. Plus, yes. Plus 2, no. Minus 2, no. So actually, we have our answer, but let's do the last component. Minus 1 times positive 1 gives us minus 1. So our final answer then is 2x to the power of 2 plus x minus 1, which is option B. Okay, so what we used here is a bit of nearly the knowledge of how to work with your area, and then that you need to basically put the formula into that area and work out and then simplify. Okay, so this is nearly one of those combo questions between area and the equations. Okay, then a question that they love to put in somehow is the semicircle. Okay, so they love to do semicircles. So all the perimeter of a semicircle, or what they love to do also is the area of a semicircle. So let's first do the perimeter, and then we'll do the area as well, even though there's not the answer for it, but let's do both. So the perimeter is everything. So that piece plus that half circle piece. So very important, the perimeter is both of them. Okay, so for that, we've got the 12 centimeter for the straight line, and then the perimeter of a half circle is basically the full circle divided by 2. So if you divide it by 2, that is that component that you will get. So perimeter of a circle is 2 pi radius. So if it is a half circle, it's just divided by 2. Okay, so we've got that long area, which is 12, plus then, so those two cancel out, so we can actually just say we sit with pi times radius. So pi times radius, and radius is for half of that, so radius is 6. Okay, so now we need to check pi. If it's not on your calculator, what I normally do is to take 22 divided by 3. So 22 divided by 3 times 6 gives me 18.85. And if I add 12 to that, I get 30.8. Okay, so let's see. So there is the 30.8. So for the perimeter, that is how we would have done it. Just important to add that long piece as well, because that's part of the perimeter that we need to cover. Okay, but if we do area and we set area of the semicircle, it would have been that. So area of the semicircle is just pi radius to the power of 2 divided by 2, because again, the area of the whole thing would have been pi radius to the power of 2. So if we take away half of it, we basically divide by 2. Okay, so that would have been the same pi, but 6 to the power of 2 divided by 2. So just if I ask the area 1, we at least have covered that as well. And that is going to be, and you can later on check it as well, but 56,5 square centimeter. Okay, so just again wanted to do both with a semicircle, but you can see the perimeter, how to work that out, and then also how to work out the area if I ask you the area question as well. Okay, so let's go into the next one. So this was also an interesting one that I picked out of, I think, last semester's, or it was one of the assignments, or it was the mock exam. So what they said is subtract the sum of this and this from this one. Okay, so you first need to do subtracting the sum of this and this. So you first need to do that sum, and then that answer you're going to subtract from this last one. Okay, so we first need to say x3 plus 2x plus x plus 7. So if we add that together, we get x3 plus 3x plus 7. And so now we have added those two, and then we're going to subtract from there, and let's put the things underneath one another. Minus 5x to the power of 3 plus 4x minus 8. Okay, so, and important that we have a minus, because minus times a minus here will become positive, so it will be x3 plus 5x, which will give us 6x to the power of 3. Now already you can see if I do that, there's only one answer. Then 3x minus times the plus is a minus, so 3x minus 4x gives us minus x. So let's just see, that's also correct. And then minus times a minus becomes a positive, so 7 plus 8 is plus 15, which again shows us that option C is the correct one. Very easily one can make the mistake in your signage, and quickly see if I swapped these two around and said that minus that, then I would have gotten minus that. That would have been positive, and that would have been minus. So if I swapped it around, I would have gotten option A. So it is very, very simple to make that mistake. If I did not use the negative sign here, and I just said that plus that, I would have gotten that. That plus that, I would have gotten that. Okay, and this one would have been a bit, because that would have been that plus that should have then been minus 1, so that would have also been a bit of a problem. But very easily, one can nearly, by any way of you making a mistake, you could have gotten to nearly 2 of the other options. And that again is sometimes worrisome, because it's not if you did not know what to do, and you then also see that something is one of the answers. Yeah, you can ask a question, no problem at all. Okay, I can't hear you.
Hi,
Can
sir.
yes,
Hi, this is Ongeziwe. Do you mind explaining this like from scratch from the beginning,
no
please?
problem at
Thank
all.
you.
So let's just want to quickly check. So let's do that. No problem at all. Okay, so let's quickly go over it again. Okay, so they say subtracting the sum of these two from this number. Oh, did I do it? Did I not do it the other way around? Oh my word, did I actually now also make a mistake? Let me quickly just subtracting this from that. Okay, so let's quickly check again. I think I actually now made a mistake. Subtracting the sum of this. So let's do the sum. There's a 2x plus x3 plus x plus 7. So let's quickly do the sum
Sorry,
of
sir.
that. Yes?
Do you mind changing the color? Because this is not clear. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I cannot see this.
No, that's 100%. Let's do it. So I'm going to go for and a bigger font as well. Okay, so that better.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so we've got the 2x plus the x. So that will give us 3x. Then the other two, there's nothing else we can do with that. So we will sit with, okay, so that is when we have added that and that together. Then they say subtract, so subtract the sum. We now have this sum from minus 8 minus 5 Okay, so I actually did it wrong. So we must subtract this answer from that. Okay, so we're going to take that. So thanks for saying that I needed to do it again. So, and just show you, so with me making the mistake, I got an answer. So that already is, again, a scary thing. So, so read these questions a few times, that you don't make now the same mistake I made. So subtracting the sum of that from this answer. So now we're going to subtract this from the other one. So now we can say, and what I normally would also do is, to make it easier, let's just multiply that in. So multiply that in. So then if I multiply it in here, so then it's easier when I add it up, and I will multiply it in here as well. Okay, so then it's easier just to add the two together. So minus 5 minus 1 is minus 6x. Okay, so then again, I do exactly the same as I did with the other one. I would say, okay, there's my minus 6. So that is going to be my answer, but that is then positive x, because 4 minus 3 is 1x, minus 8 minus 7 is minus 15. Okay, so actually option A. So very easy to make that mistake. And then I actually got it totally wrong with an option. Okay, so again, like I normally say, sometimes you just get caught out because first English is not one's first language. So just make very sure when you guys do this, um, not to make the same mistake that I now did. So go through it step for step, um, and read it 2 or 3 times to see if you're actually doing the right thing. Because looking at what I did, I made the mistake and there was an answer for me, which is always nearly for me the scary thing, because I now did it once. I did not go back and check if I did it correct. I would have gone on to the next question, assuming that the previous one I got right. So just be very careful again, and rather read it 2 or 3 times so that you know exactly what to do, and just start off like I did and just assume this is what you need to do. Because with your mistake, there is unfortunately an answer. Okay, so thanks that you asked that I do it again, so that I could pick up that mistake as well. And it's, yeah, I think that's for one thing that's really difficult about this subject, and a lot of the DSC types of subject like BNU, QMI, DSC is there is normally an answer for you if you made a mistake. Um, so that nearly is always a worry for me, is there is normally an answer for you if you actually made a mistake in your calculation like I did now as well. Okay, so another financial one. So I think it's just one. I just want to see if there's any other financials for tonight. So there will be a few for next week, Wednesday. So one more financial and then it's all equations. So Sam plans to buy a car for 125,000. He pays a deposit and manages to secure a bank loan for the outstanding amount. And I made a reference here that it looks at in your study guide, page 136. So I can't remember if there's nearly a similar type of question there. I just remembered from previous notes that I wrote down, page 136. I just quickly want to check what is on page 136 so that just quickly. Oh, okay, it is amortization. So there is an example like that, example 7.5, that is very similar in your study guide. So that one page 136, there's an example like that in your study guide that is very similar to this one. Okay, so Sam plans to buy a car. He pays 15%. So let's first work out what the deposit is that we're gonna take off. So 15% times the 125. Okay, so that is 18,750. So what's left for him to take out the loan for is the 125 minus 18,758. So the loan amount that he is looking for is 106,250. Okay, and when they say you're securing the bank loan, the bank charges 12.5% interest. I'm going to check if we can also do it on the Excel. Compounded monthly, so we know it is 12 times a year. Minimum payment will be, if the loan has to be paid in 6 years. Again, what I sometimes don't like, I won't use the word hate, is I'm always looking for numbers and sometimes one misses the words because one is so, I'm always looking for numbers and they like to do
Sorry,
the
sir.
years. Yes.
So how did we get the loan amount?
Okay, so
Oh,
so
yeah.
they say the car will cost him 125. He pays 15% deposit. Okay, so and the rest he secures by loan. So 15% of the 125,000 is 18,750. So if I take the 18,750 off the 125, what is left is the loan amount of 106,250. Okay, so that is how I
Okay.
would work out the loan amount.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so then they tell us, okay, that's the loan amount. So that will be our present value. Because we pay off the loan, our future value will be equal to 0. Because after 6 years, I have paid off my loan amount, so I won't have any cost left. So I will need to work out what is my PMT. So I will need to work out, and they ask that, determine what Sam's minimum monthly payment will be. Okay, so we will need to work out what is his monthly installment going to be. Okay, so financial calculator one, let's do that first. So my present value will be the 106,250 negative. That will be our present value. I normally put in a future value of 0 just that my calculator don't remember the previous question that I did, but if you set the clear all, that will also be fine. But I just normally do that as a default. 12.5% interest. Then we looked at 12 times per year for 6 years. So that is, again, if we look at that, 72 payments. And then we can ask the calculator what is our PMT. So I will also show this on Excel for you guys, because again, all of this information one can put into Excel. So something that I would normally do just as an indicator, but not really to. So what I would do is I would take this 106,250 and I would divide it by 72 months. So if I do that, I get 1475. So if I say 106,250 divided by 72, I get 1476. Okay, so what I'm trying to do with just this simple calculation is to say, if I don't pay interest, this is the minimum that I would have paid. So if I did not pay any interest, I would have at least paid 1,476. So when I now look at these answers, I'm like, okay, I would have in any case paid more than that. Yeah, okay, so they're actually giving me that answer, but I still need to pay interest. So this is just nearly something for myself to eliminate. So still, if I needed to guess an answer now, I'm guessing between two answers and not four, just by looking at what is the minimum amount that I would have needed to pay without any interest calculation, just by saying that is my loan over 72 months. So that is what I would have paid without any interest or anything like that. Okay, but let's quickly go to Excel, and I'm gonna copy this one that we used previously. So we will change a few things in here. So this one, the previous one, I needed to work out future value. So now we're going to work out that value. So let's just move that to that side. let's put in present value. So I will share this with you guys. So present value is minus 106250. Let's quickly check where was the information. Sure. Okay, I did now something that I didn't know I could do on the PC. So let me just do that. So we known that, let me quickly just make that cool. Okay, so interest rate was 12.5. We have made the times per year is 12. Our N is 6, so we can see it changed to 72 periods. There's the 12.5. Future value we knew was 0. So if we then need to work out PMT, there is a PMT function. So PMT, again, looks at the rate. It looks at the number of periods. It looks at your present value. We did not have a future value. It was 0. And there you will see exactly the same answer that we got with our financial calculator. We could also get from Excel. So I will definitely, after this session, share the spreadsheet with the slides, with the recording onto our WhatsApp group that you have it as well. You are, and again, remember BNU is open book. You are allowed to use financial calculators. You are allowed to use Excel. You are allowed to use any of your study guides, any notes, any of my presentations. The only thing you're not allowed to do is to ask assistance from a person. Okay, so that's why I also share all of these presentations with you guys so that you have it as backup. So again, there's nothing that prohibits you from using this information that we are covering tonight. Okay, so I will share this. I just want to quickly check what was the other one's question that I can just put that into. So that was, let's see, that was slide 20. So I will just say slide 20 so that I can just put that also into in here so that when I share it, you know exactly what it is referring to. Okay, so that was another question around your financial maths types of questions. So this one was more on amortization. So basically looking at loans. We will, and you guys can see there's around 99 slides in this pack. We only had slide 27, so it's all previous exam papers, previous assignments. So we will work through a few more before you write exam. And as I said earlier, please feel free. You can, if there's any questions that you have issues with, put it on the WhatsApp group. I will copy it into a presentation, and we will focus on it in one of the sessions. Okay, let's look at solving. So the next ones for tonight is where we solve equations. Okay, so again, you can see in this one, they want us nearly to work out brackets first, then bring all the x's to the one side, all the numbers to the other side. So let's do that. So let's start with multiplying n. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is just 3. That is just normal plus 4. And then on the right hand side, we've got the 5, that's separate. Then minus 3 times x is minus 3x. And minus 3 times minus 2 is positive 6. Okay, so that again is an important one. Minus 3 times minus 2 is positive 6. So I normally like to bring all the x's to the one side. So I've got 3x here. Then I will take the negative 3x. If I take that to the left-hand side, that will become positive 3x. And then it is gone on this side. And then I'll take all my numbers to the right-hand side. So the 3 going to that side becomes negative 3. The 4 going to that side becomes negative 4. And then I'm left with the plus 5 plus 6. Okay, so then on the left-hand side, 3x plus 3x is 6x. And on the right-hand side, minus 3 minus 4 is minus 7. Minus 7 plus 5 is what? Minus 2. Minus 2 plus that is plus 4. And then if I want to have x on its own, I need to divide on both sides with 6. So I have 4 over 6, but that's not in the simplest form, so I must still make that the simplest form. So 2 goes into 4 twice, and 2 goes into 6 in 3 times, so that my simplest form is 2 over 3. And then if I look at it, option 4 will be the 2 over 3. And you can always, again, test it by putting that 2 over 3 back into your formula. And it will give you then that the two are equal to one another. Okay, so for this one, also a bit tricky, the fractions, because again, we've got here 2 over 3, but negative. So if we made somewhere a mistake with a sign, there was an answer. If we had it as 4 over 3, then again, another one would have been correct as well. So again, just watch out when you do this, when you take the things to the one side, that you use your formulas correctly with the signs, so that you don't end up with a negative that should have been a positive. Okay, but we're going to do a few more of them, because again, this is important because it will be in your exam. So this one was again a bit different. So I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, there's a few ways one can work this out. So again, you can, in a sense, decide what is for you the easiest. So one can go and say, well, there's a 9. I want to get rid of a 9, so I multiply with 9 straight through. So that's the one way we can do it. So if I multiply with 9 straight through, I would multiply the first term with 9, but because I divide it by 9, that first term will only be 30x. Okay, but then I need to multiply the second term by 9, so 9 times 2 is 18, and I need to multiply the third term with 9, so 9 times 5 is 45, so 45x. Okay, so this is fine, we can work that out, so 50x is this side on my left hand side, so I take the 45x to the left hand, so that becomes negative. And then I take my 18 to the right hand side, so that also becomes negative. So now I've got 50 minus 45 is minus 15. X is equal to minus 18. And then if I divide by minus 15 on both sides, I get 18 divided by 15. And then that I can simplify a bit. So 6 goes, or 3 goes into 18 6 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So my answer would have been 6 over 5. Okay, so that is one way of doing it, which for me is sometimes the easiest. But what we could have done as well is to say, okay, we've got 30x over 9 plus 2 is equal to 5x. So the first thing we could have done is to say, let's simplify this. So 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 30 10 times. Okay, so, but then still I needed to multiply out by 3. So instead of multiplying by 9, I would have now still needed to multiply out by 3. So we'll still get 10x, but it will now become a bit easier. So that will be 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. Now you guys can see what will happen now. If I take that over, now I will get on the left hand side minus 5x, and then on the right hand side it will be minus 6. And now if I get this answer, it will just be equal to 6 divided by 5. Okay, because I did the nearly simplification of the 30 and the 9 up front, I didn't need to do it at the later stage, so my answer is already in the simplest form. Okay, so, but both of them does get you to the same answer. So it's one of those that, again, both is correct. It's nearly which one are you most comfortable in using? Because yeah, whichever one you prefer, you can use. There's not a right or wrong in this one. Both is a correct method. So whichever one you like to use, please do that. Okay, so more simplification. So this time around, we're looking at square roots. So I'm first gonna, you can see it was a previous exam paper. So let me just rewrite it that we can all see. Okay, so that is what they ask us to take the square root of 36, x to the power of 4, y to the power of 16. So again, what I normally would first do is to say, okay, well, we get to the x and the y later. Let's first, what is square root of 36? So, and that you can do on your calculator. Square root of 36 is 6. So already, again, when we look at answers, we know that if I need to look at any options, it's only option 2 and 4 that will be correct. Okay, then something else that I want to show you guys is, so in this, remember that we actually have, this is normally, we say square root because there's a 2 in that bucket. So when we simplify this, what we can do is to say, and how I normally look at it is to say it is 4 divided by 2. So we can take that bucket away, but it is 4 divided by 2, and then 16 divided by 2. And then we can take that square root away. So if we simplify, that is how we can simplify it. So still you will see none of those answers have 4 over 2 or 16 over 2, but let's do that in the next step. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So if we look at answers, okay, both of them is still correct. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 16 divided by 2 is 8, so y 8. So the correct answer is option 2 and not option 4. Okay, so that for me is another way that, so if you have something weird, so if you have something like that, and it's like, what do I do now? You can just say, well, I was taught that that is the division line. So that answer, if I simplify that, is going to be x 8 divided by 4. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So if I wanted to simplify that one, that is how we will do it. Okay, so, and that makes it very easy for you then to, any number, you just say that number divided by what's in the bucket, and you can simplify it. Yeah, that, when I saw that previously, I was like, okay, this is something that it's easier for myself to remember nearly. Then you don't need to remember any of this 2 times 2 times 2 gives you what, or 3 times 3 times 3, or any of those. You basically just we need to focus on what is 8 divided by 4. And in this instance is 4 divided by 2 and 16 divided by 2. Okay, so let's look at another one. Now look at very similar to nearly this one. So very similar to that one. So all that they now did is there's an extra a to the power of 2. So let's first multiply out. So a times that gives me, just make it a bit, say, a to the power of 3. Okay, so that is covered. A times minus a is minus a to the power of 2. A times minus 4 is minus 4a. Okay, so then minus 2a times a is minus 2a to the power of 2. Minus 2a plus 3 is minus 6a. And then we've got minus 1 at the end. So if I look at this, I want to say let's start with a to the power of 3, but actually I want to say let's start with the numbers that don't have an a. So we've got minus 1. And so our one that we need to make sure we have is minus 1. Okay, so those have, that is minus 5, so not correct. So now we can go to the A3. So there's only one of them, so it's 2a to the power of 3. 2a to the power of 3. Okay, unfortunately, okay, so that one isn't. So there's another one we can take out. Minus 1a to minus 2a, so that is minus 3a to the power of 2. Minus 3, minus 3. Okay, not there yet. Minus 4, minus 6, so it's minus 10a. Okay, so there we have minus 10. There we have plus, so we know that we are then on the right track, and option 3 is the correct one. Okay, so again, don't I find it easier to do it nearly step for step, and when you could already eliminate some of the options instead of nearly going from the beginning, try to work it out. You can now easily have seen step by step. So yes, we needed to do everything to get to that last one, but again, when it's only between two options and not all four that we need to worry. Okay, so we've got a few more on simplification. So again, this was from previous exams, so sorry about that. It should be a division. So 5 divided by 5, or 5 over 6 divided by 3 over 6. So the first thing I would do in this one is we're going to do that first. Remember, if we have a divide by, what we're allowed to do is to change the sign to multiply, but then we need to swap that around. So instead of 3 over 6, it becomes 6 over 3. And then we can just put the third term together, because now everything is multiplication. So now again, you have two options. So the first is to say, okay, let's multiply everything at the top. So 5 times 6 times 3 gives you 90. And at the bottom, 6 times 3 times 15 gives you 270. So now you simplify 9 divided by 27. So 9 goes into 9 once. 9 goes into 27 3 times, so your final answer is 1/3. So that is one way of doing it. The other way could have been to first, before you multiply everything out, you simplify and cancel. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 3 once, so those two have cancelled out. 6 goes into 6 once, 6 goes into 6 once, so those two have cancelled out. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 15 3 times. So if you then multiply at the top, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. If you multiply at the bottom, 1 times 1 times 3 is 3. And you get the same answer. So again, both of them are correct. You just need to decide which one you want to use. You could have even gone to your calculator and said, okay, what is 5/6? If I divide that by 3/6 is by a half, I get 1,6667. If I multiply that by 3 divided by 15, I also get 1/3. So you could have even used your calculator for that. And I've got a HP, which is not nice for fractions, but I know the Casio and the Sharp allows you to put in fractions into the calculator. So nothing in here said you are not allowed to use a calculator. So just remember that you are allowed to use calculators. So if there is a fraction like this, that we know 1/3 is 0.3333. So if that answer is 0.3333, then I know option 2 is the right one. So there is certain of these questions that by all means you are allowed to test on your calculator. The same with this one. Um, who is this now? Oh, let's see. I hope this is minus and not division. So let's see if, so let me write it over and we will see if it works. If it doesn't, we know then that it was something different and I'll just take it out of the pack. Okay, so 5/6 minus 3/4 plus 7/24. Okay, so not a great one because now we have fractions 6, 4, and 24. So what I would do is to say, okay, let's put everything over 24. And let's see, there is an answer of something over 24, but it might just be that we need to cancel out. So 5/6 is what over 24? So to get from 6 to 24, we said 24 divided by 6, and that is 4. So 4 times 5 is 20. So if you again check 20 divided by 24 will give you 5/6. Okay, then we do the same for 3/4. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So that will be then minus 18/24. And the last one, 7/24, is 7/24. And so then if we simplify this, 20 minus 18 plus 9, not 9, plus 7 is 9/24. Okay, so let's now quickly check. 9/26 sure, we'll see if we made a mistake somewhere. Okay, 21 or 20, 61 over 24, it's not that one. Okay, so let's simplify. So 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 24 8 times. So 3 over, okay, there's a 3 over 8. That is our answer. But just check how they wanted to nearly make you think twice about your answer, because I was already thinking, sure, 9 over 24, 9 over 26, did I somewhere make a mistake? But actual fact, it was one could simplify and not that we made a mistake and it should have been over 26. Okay, so again, just be careful when one do this, that there is one of these questions that nearly wants to throw you off guard. But when we simplify, we get the answer as 3 over 8. And again, on your calculators, this is something that you will be able to work out, where you can say 5 over 6 minus 3 over 4, get the answer, and then say plus 7 over 24. Okay, so now, again, simplification. Now look at this one. So 3 over 4 plus a half times 5 over 4. Okay, so what we need to remember from BOTMAS, we need to do multiplication first. Okay, and here I can't see anything that we can cancel out. So 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 4 is 8. So I'm basically sitting with a formula of 3 over 4 plus 5 over 8. Okay, so then what I would do is I would put everything on 8. So that last one will stay 5 over 8. But 3 over 4, so 4 goes into 8 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6, so 3 over 4 is the same as 6 over 8. So 6 plus 5 is 11 over 8. So let's first see, okay, cool, 11 over 8. So we didn't need to simplify it. Yeah, so if I wanted you to simplify, but then it is, you need to say, well, that is 1 and 3 over 8 as for answer. So that could have been another one that they bring in, but they didn't ask us to go to this route. They stopped at 11 over 8, and we had the answer of 11 over 8. Okay, so again, simplification with fractions and a bit of BOTMAS that we needed to know that we need to do multiplication first, and then we do the addition component. Okay, and then the last equation for tonight, and this one is lowest common multiple. So basically, what number goes in all three of them? So how I look at this again is to say, let's first do the numbers before we go into the A, B's, and C's. So let's first look at 6, 8, and 12. Okay, so I can simplify 6 to say, well, that's 2 times 3. If I take the factors out of that, For 8, it is 2 times 2 times 2 will give me 8. And then for 12, it is 2 times 2 will give me 4. 4 times 3 will give me 12. Okay, so that is the factors of 6, 8, and 12. Okay, so now I need to say which one is the lowest common multiple. So which one occurs in all of them. So there's 1, 2. Let's take the 2 out. So that 2 is covered. That 2 is covered. That 2 is covered. So what I see is those 2 2's are not covered. So I need to bring them into the lowest common multiple. So if I covered those 2, that 1 is also covered. So that luckily is done. Then let's see how many 3's are there. Okay, there's 1 3. And that 3 covers that 1 3, and there's no 3's in here. So if I just look at my numbers, it is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So that's 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Times 3 is 24. So just by looking at that on its own, there is my answer that I would have picked. I haven't even looked at the A's, B's, and C's because that is actually the one that is already the only one that takes into account that my numbers are correct. Okay, but let's look at the other one. So let's see. There's a 2. So there's 2 of them. So will A2 cover this one? So there's only 1. So yes, it will. Will A2 cover this? There's only 1. So yes, it will. Okay, so still happy. A2 is also all right. Then B, I've got 1B. It covers this B, so that's fine. Oh, it only covers one of the B's. There's 3, so there should be B to the power of 3 because that's the most. So again, happy with option 1. Then let's see, is 1C. It covers that 1C, and there's no C there, so happy that we only need to have 1C. So there we have now covered the 24 that covers all the 2's and all the 3's. The A to the power of 2, so that covers all of the A's. B to the power of 3 again covers all of the B's. And only 1C again covers all the ones that has 1C. Okay, so that would then have been our lowest common multiple, which is option 1. Okay, so again, I actually first identified it only by the numbers. So if there is 224s, then you can go into the detail of all the others. But if this was the exam and I got for this component already 24, I would have picked one and gone to the next question. Just remember your exams are timed, so it does help if there's certain ones that you can do quicker than some of the other questions. Okay, so that is it for tonight. We will have a session again on Wednesday. So I will send on the WhatsApp group a link all the morning of Wednesday or previous to that already. Then next week, Friday again, then the week after that. So we will continue up until that week of your exam. So I think you guys are writing the Saturday as it stands now. So in that week, we will have a session before you write on the Wednesday and the Thursday, so that you can then just chill nearly on the Friday before you write the Saturday, so that we cover everything up until that Thursday. Then the Friday you can use your own time, and the group will still be open and all those kind of things, so that you can still post questions. Okay, so that is it for tonight, everyone. Thanks for joining on a Friday evening. I will share the recording, the presentation, as well as